Yo, what's up, everybody? As you can see, I'm in a different location, um, but right now I'm starting something new. This is kind of incredible because I've never really thought about doing something like this. I've never thought about the possibility of doing it, but let's talk about it. Your boy's going to Europe. So, yeah. So my girl, she's a poet. She's a published poet out in Puerto Rico, and the publishing company that published her book is taking some of the authors and some of the poets and going on a tour throughout Europe, Spain, France, maybe Germany, Italy, some other places we might stop by. But essentially, when they bought up this tour, my girl was like, yo, you should come and film this. I brought it up to him, and he saw my work, and he was really in love with it, and he wanted to bring me along. So not only did he want to bring me along on this, but I want to bring y'all along on this journey as well. I think it's really important in this phase of my career to be able to show y'all some of the processes that I'm going through, some of the steps that I'm going through. And this is one of the first big meetings that him and I are having for planning for this documentary. I'm essentially meeting him here so we can get all of the information about his story of his journey as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. Without further ado, I am meeting with Carlos A. Colón Ruiz, who is the CEO of Editorial Pulpo, and we are going to Europe. So Carlos, you are the CEO of Editorial Pulpo. Tell me, first of all, why the hell Pulpo, and what made you decide to become a CEO?
Well, hello, Angel. Yes, I am the owner of Pulpo. Pulpo is a bookstore and publishing house located here in Puerto Rico. I started when I was 19 years old as a publishing house in the west side of the island because I want to help other young poets like me to publish their first books. But I have no experience in publishing houses and editions and corrections or etc. And the books were, have their best or bad sides, but in the end, helped just 3, 4 young poets get published their first book. So I closed the publishing house and I started to do other stuff with my life. And in 2021, I bring back the publishing house because, I feel like I can do something better, more efficient, and bring really good young Puerto Rican poets back to the place that they need to be known and to be read. So yeah. Also, I started to traveling with my own books to a couple of countries and book fairs, etc. And I get experience by reading and knowing people, learning, taking classes, etc. When I started once again 2021, I feel like very secure of what I was doing, and it's been 3 wonderful years, more than 25 books, and now with narrative and translations and international poets and over 10 countries that me as an editor or other poets of the publishing house have participated. And yeah, very much, very cool 4 years.
That's beautiful. Why do you think it's important for somebody in who's 19 years old? Why is it important for a 19-year-old to start a publishing company in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, that's a great question. I participate in open mics and small literature events at the west side of the island, and I never saw one publishing house. Or there's a couple, but I didn't know it by the time. So I decided to create the publishing house, and got a good response when I was 19 years old. But when I started to enter to the publishing house market or book fairs in the Ashland, I saw a lot of things that I really want to do it, but by the time I didn't have the money, the research, and the experience to do it. A couple of years later, when I was like 23, 24, and I bring back the publishing house, I feel like I have the tools and the experience and the goals to make this like a real deal publishing house.
So from entrepreneur to entrepreneur, but you and I think are in the same boat. We're both trying to start our own businesses. And well, you have your business going. Me myself, I'm trying to start my business enough to have, like a whole store like you do. What's been the biggest or one of the biggest challenges that you've had as an entrepreneur in Puerto Rico?
Well, the book industry in the Iceland is not like the best economic industry to make a living. Um, there's like a bad idea that Puerto Rican doesn't read. That's a bad assertion. A lot of Puerto Ricans read books. A lot of Puerto Rican write. In every single corner of the island, you can see new bookstores opening up and new book fairs happening, and a lot of young writers that want to write and publish and read, etc. But it's still very difficult because there's a couple of situations. The political situation doesn't help because there isn't a law that support the book industry in Puerto Rico. There isn't institutions that bring loans or becas to help writers, and there's a couple, but there should be more, and it's very difficult to for the prices of stuff, like pay the rent, the food, the car, and the electricity. There's a lot of expensive to live in Puerto Rico that make a living of the publishing houses and bookstores very difficult. Um, but it's not impossible. You have to be very consistent, very persuasive, we have a big heart and a big love, and know what you are doing. Focus with your readers, focus in the stuff that you are doing, make good books, make good art for the book covers, trying to participate in good events, in trying to create new readers and new clients every single day. And that's that. It's very hard. It's still very hard, but we got a fighting chance.
When Liz introduced me to your work, that was the one thing or the first thing that I noticed. Passion. I'm an educator. I've taught Latin jazz and music in some really rough neighborhoods here in the United States. And one thing when you're in those positions is that it's always going to be lack of money and you're not going to get enough funding, but you're going to have really passionate people. And but it's very important for people that are passionate about those things that are important to the culture to keep pushing. And that was the one thing that I saw when we were reading the draft of her book. Your attention to detail, how much you care about the reputation of the reputation of Editorial Pulpo, in the sense like, you're not just going to put any book out there. You're going to make sure it's a quality book. And I thought that was really cool.
Thank you for saying that, man, because it will be very easy for me to say yes to every single book that I receive from email. I can say yes to every single book and publish every single book and make a lot of money. That will be the easy way, but I don't like that. That's not my ethics and model. Yeah, a lot of the writers that I publish are young poets in the 22, 23, 24, because I see them what I see myself when I was 20, 19, 20, 21. No one was there to help me to learn to make it edits my poems and trying to make the best of me. Nobody was there, so I am trying to help other writers to get that experience that there is someone there helping them with knowledge, suggestions, and trying to make good books of literature that had utility in society. Um, so yeah, I don't accept every single book that I receive. I just take a few, and I work very hard with every single one of the writers. We take months. We go back to the same points over and over and over again, and we try to make the best possible poem and the best possible books. Sometimes the book that got published is very different than the book that I received because we keep adding poems. We take a few. The same with the last two narrative books that I edit. One of them is already published. So yeah, I take very seriously my work. Some people don't take very seriously because we are drawing writers, but in time, when the past time, and one of or two or three of the writers that I got published becomes a very intellectual writer, and everybody's trying to find their first book, they will be looking in Pulpo catalog, and that's something I'm looking forward.
Why is it important to you to edit your poems or edit the people when they come in? Why is that important to curate your authors?
Yeah, well, in school in Puerto Rico, most of the poems that people got in their textbooks are 100 years old book, and they raise up with the assertion that poetry in 2024 is the same of poetry that 100 years ago. So I love join poets 18, 19, 20. That's not the case because I haven't published one of them of those ages, but to start to write like that. So when I take a book and I start to work with a writer, the first thing I do is analyze what I'm reading and trying to connect it with books and writers that I already read from other countries, for other generations, contemporary Puerto Rican poets. And the first thing I do is make a document, me talking about the book, recommendations and stuff, and a list of writers and books that I recommend to read it, that they can be used as tools and for their book. Because when the past time, no, the most the years, the most the books you read, and the most the younger you are, the less books you read. So part of of the of the of the progress is to read. So all the writers that got published with Pulpo, you know, have to work with stuff, like talleres and books, and recomendaciones. I told them to go places like you got this assignment, go to this place that you used to when you were younger, or trying to go to this event that is happening next week. And I'm trying to make experience with the process of making that book. Yeah, it's
Wow.
awesome. I really love to do that.
That's cool, man. I'm thinking of it like the difference between like a young musician and a young author. Like there's not many places like that where like a young musician can go and get that holistic experience of somebody that's actually trying to help and say, hey, I like your stuff, but let's go learn about this a little bit. Let's go do this. In music, if you get somebody telling you that, it's a lot of times they're trying to take advantage of you. And and I know your work. It's not like that because you did that with Liz, and she learned so much from you. And it's such a beautiful, like, to look at the contrast between the experiences.
And that's just the beginning, because when the book got published, I helped them to get published in other countries, or magazines, anthologies, trying to get them to participate in book fairs, poetry fairs, and other events. Well, a couple of our poets have traveled to other countries to present their books, thanks to the Pulpo work. Verónica Reca, Andrés Lugo Cruz, Gadiel Ruiz Rivera. We got published international poets like Isi Aquino and Camila Chani Noriega. Other writers has traveled with me, Gian Alberto, Daniel Rosa. We are going to Colombia next week. By the time it got published, maybe we are in Colombia. And two young poets, Camila Rubero and Geraldo Mercado, are going with me to make some presentation in Bogota and Cali. And I have participated in book fair all over the world: Mexico, Guatemala, Los Angeles, LA, Dominican Republic, Spain. And I always bring books, and these writers did join. I fantasize in the young ones, but not all of the writers are really young. Just like first books, maybe is the correct answer. So these first books, or a lot of Puerto Rican poets and writers got the chance to reread it. It's important for me to publish a book that is going to be read. Why I should publish a book that is going to stay in the bookshelf in a random bookstore, taking the time, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 years pass, and those 5, 6, 10 books are still there. So I work very hard to promote the writers, to help them to get audiencias, que tengan una audiencia.
Audience, yeah.
Yeah. And it's constant, it's nonstop. In November, we are going to Mexico with F. Rosario and Raiza Pimentel, and in Charigumeta. International F. is Puerto Rican, Raiza and Chari are international poets, and we are going to this festival in South Mexico, in Chiapas, and we are going to present the project. We are going to present Pulpo, but also we are going to present the poets that are coming with me.
Why is it important for you to be in Colombia? Why is it important for you to be in Mexico? And why is it important for you to go on the trip we're about to talk about?
It's very important. So we're going to Colombia in a couple of days, in August, first week of Agosto. And in October is the travel that we are about to talk. And in November, we're going to Mexico. Mexico and Colombia are all set up. We make that possible thanks to sponsors, to donations, and Mexico pay half of the travels. So in October, we are going to travel all around Europe. Well, technically 3 countries: Spain, France, Spain, France, and Italy. Why there? Because we are going to participate in a special event that I can't have details right now, but maybe in a couple of weeks we can talk about that in Barcelona. And we're going to present a couple of our books, including Un lugar para quedarse, de Liz Kamalich. And I got published in a bilingual book in Italy, Italian, Puerto Rico is Spanish and Italian. I got the opportunity to go to Italy and present my book over there. And also, we are going to publish a book of a Puerto Rican poet, Ana Pornoy Brimer, in French. is already translated. It's going to get published in September. And the translator, Benjamin Haoun, live in Paris. And we want to go maybe with the writer, but very secure there. The translator is going to be there and present that book in Paris. So it's very important. That travel is very important for a lot of reasons. For this, number one, the same reason that we travel to other countries. We want to promote the literature that is happening in Puerto Rico, but also our publishing house. I always bring books of other publishing houses, and I always bring books from my old friends and stuff. So I don't go just with Pulpo books. I always bring something else. That's number one, to promote the books and the outreach. Number two, back to the political stuff. It's very hard for Puerto Rican artists and writers to get opportunities in internationals countries and stuff, because we are colonial status. We don't have like a, ¿cómo se llama eso en inglés? Una embajada, no? We don't have an embassy in other countries that we can make contact and we can make exchange, cultural exchange, cultural writers exchange. We don't have that. We don't have a country that represent us, because United States, when they're representing themselves, they don't represent the Puerto Ricans, they represent the Americans. So it's that has that have been happening forever, but we don't have like a way to get these opportunities in other countries. So it's all ourselves. So it's important because we don't have an embassy that represents the Puerto Rican artists in other countries. So it's become very difficult to promote our art and our books in other countries. We have to do it all by ourselves. It's important because there's a assumption, this is an idea, there's a comment all around the world that we got published and read it in United States, but that's not the case. And in the United States, things that we got published and we got read in Latin America and Spain, but that's not the case. We are not getting published in any country, and we are not getting read in any country. So all that is happening right now is because people like me and all the people that contribute with their own energy, money, and love to help promote the Puerto Rican literature.
It's interesting because I'm going to tell you a story. When I was in college, I take for granted because my family's Puerto Rican. I was born here, but my family's Puerto Rican. And in Pennsylvania, there's a lot of Puerto Ricans everywhere. But I take for granted that Puerto Rico is a very well-known place because of the simple fact that, because I'm from Pennsylvania. Now, when I was in college, we had exchange students that came from Wales, from England.
Yeah.
And they came down here, and I had 4 of them stay with me, 4 ballet dancers. And, me and my homie were taking them all around Philly, and they didn't know what Puerto Rico was. When I asked them I was like, yo, you ever heard of Puerto Rico or Puerto Ricans? They were like, oh yeah, that's like South America. That's in Colombia or something, like by there. And so I take for granted that maybe there's places in Europe that just don't even know we exist because, like you say, we don't have an embassy. It's hard for with the distinction of being a Spanish-speaking country, owned. I don't want to say owned, but that's governed by an English-speaking country. So it's like, where does it stand?
So that same thing you are saying, Angel, is important because our political status, doesn't get the opportunity to us to participate or make deals with other countries to become part of our organization like Caribecon, or make exchanges with other countries all around the world, because we are part, like you said, we are just like extension, a colonial of the United States. And yeah, there's nobody there for us. And inside the island, the assumption is that majority of the people really want to be with America, with the United States, and they forgot their culture, that their writers, their musicians, the art. It's not the case in everything, is we are a powerhouse cultural country, but some stuff just get passed by.
That was my meeting with Carlos, the CEO of Editorial Pulpo. I hope this gives you some insight into why this documentary is important, why this traveling is important. Of course, it's going to be a beautiful experience. I'm going to see Europe. I'm going to see all of these beautiful things that I wanted to see, but it's also telling the story of my island brothers and sisters and pushing the narrative forward that Puerto Rico is not just reggaeton, it's not just Bad Bunny, Daddy Yankee, Ricky, it's not just all of those people. There's a very large and passionate culture of intellectuals and writers and poets and all kinds of things. So, I hope you follow along with us on this journey, because we're going to be pushing really hard for the next 2 months, promoting this, trying to get you guys on board. We might launch a little tiny bit of a campaign. I don't want y'all to fund it completely. We're looking for funding outside of crowdfunding, but maybe there might be some space for you guys to help and get involved, because this is a communal effort, and I'm just excited to bring y'all along. So stay tuned. It's your boy Angel Rafael. Much love to y'all. Peace.